Hello, it's Leslie here. Today I wanted to do something a little bit different and do a book review of this book here, Russian course, the new Penguin Russian course, a complete course for beginners. I think it's more of an intermediate book really. It has a lot of info in it. First I'll say, if I had to say what learning Russian was, I'd say it's the cases, the prefixes, perfective, imperfective verbs, and a few things like that. So it does cover, and the verbs of motion. So it covers all of that stuff. So I'll try and flick through it and you can sort of see. Let's just try and focus. So that's the sort of style of book it is. Sorry if it's not focusing. I'm getting a new webcam probably next week as well, so hopefully my focusing issues will disappear. So it gives you an idea of what the book's like. It's paperback. It's kind of handy in this size, although I think that's what the main trouble with it is, because you know, Russian grammar is tedious enough on its own without the book making it even harder. So what I think I think it's good, and I recommend it if you read books and you like books, then you know, maybe buy it. But I think what's lacking is the graphic design, right? So this book, it doesn't have, if you pick any page at all, they all look the same. So it doesn't have any design other than a few bold words here and there, and the chapter headings. There's the chapter heading. It really doesn't have any design at all. So the most design you get is on the cover. And I think this day and age, it's really not really good enough, because people have very short attention spans now, and I think learning a language is about making it fun, being persistent and persevering with it, having it at the right level. This is the right level. This may well be the right level, but I never sat down with this book from start to finish because it was just too tedious and too boring to read. So I have marked a few things. You can probably see I've turned a few pages over where I've marked places for the cases and things like that. But it's what we say in the graphic design industry. It's legible, but it's not readable. Like, yeah, everything's printed clearly enough, but it's very text heavy. There's no pictures, there's no tables, there's no, not that you would put a graph in there, but for example, that's one of the reasons why the Dummies series of books is so popular. You know, like, I don't think there's a Russian for Dummies book, but this would be the equivalent, Idiot's Guide. And it's a lot more, if you look at it, even though it doesn't have any color pictures, it's still a lot more readable, because like there's a table there, and then you have like this memory tips and things like that. That's far easier to read than this book. So, you know, it's very cheap and it's good value for money, but it's not the easiest book to read. It really isn't. So that's my biggest gripe with it. I actually found it not that easy to find info on the cases, because one of the cases is covered here, then the next case is covered on a few pages later, and then the next case, and then the next case. And I wanted to be able to look at them in one table and compare them, and so I could remember them, you know, try and get them to remember them all, well, more or less simultaneously if I could. And the other thing, when I was up to this stage, when I bought this book, I wanted to know about the adjectives. So it's got the adjectives in there in all the cases, which is good. But as I say, they're not next to each other. So there's no like summary table. Not that I can remember anyway. There's no summary table. So also I never do any of the exercises. I'm not that type of person. I can't be bothered doing exercises. I find that very much like homework, which I have bad memories, you know, like I don't like the thought of doing homework, so I don't do exercises. I'd rather try and find a better way of learning it. For me, you know, would I buy this book again? Well, no, I wouldn't. What I found worked for me better was to learn, for example, the verbs of motion. I learned best from the Russian grammar YouTube channel. I think he teaches that in a more visual way. The cases and adjectives, I think Anna Scher, her YouTube channel, she's a much better teacher than reading this book. For me, it was far more interesting and easy to watch a video, or 10 or 20 videos, than to pick up this book, have the energy to pick up this book and sit through it. So, and it's a pity because, I mean, Russian's really difficult, and it really, as I said, it's already difficult. You don't need to make it more difficult by having a book like that. So, you know, it's a pity that there's no Russian for Dummies book, is what I'm saying. Because I'd recommend that instead. Okay, well, that's all I have to say about this. The other thing is, one last thing is, the actual book kind of ends on page 378. So after that, it becomes grammatical tables, which again, they are the same size. They're not italicized, nothing. Then there's a dictionary in the back. I think the dictionary is kind of useless because you already have a dictionary. You'd have a separate dictionary. So if it was me, I would get rid of this whole last 100 pages of the book. I'll just rip it out and get rid of it. Because I don't know. Anyway, so that's just my opinion. So yeah, I'd actually flicked through it, but I never actually read it from cover to cover. It's not the sort of book I would want to read from cover to cover. I only came in here and wanted to know a few things about the cases and the adjectives, and that was it really. But I think you can find that information elsewhere. So that's all I have to say about that book. I'll be doing a couple more book reviews, you know, because I'm going to start reading some books in Russian, some science fiction books. And I think it's some of my most popular videos have been book reviews, so we're going to be doing a few book reviews. Thank you for watching. Bye.